Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Matt Glickman. I lead financial services here at Snowflake. Really happy for the event we're having here today. I'd like to introduce David Coluccio from S&P Global. Really excited to be speaking with David today. So Dave, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, Matt. Thank you very much for your time today. My name is David Coluccio. I'm the Managing Director and Head of the Data Management Solutions Feed, API, and thanks to our partnership with Snowflake, Cloud Business. So in essence, what our team is responsible for is taking all the great data that S&P Global collects. We're doing a lot of third-party partnerships where we're integrating third-party data, linking it, structuring it, and delivering it to our clients through our feed, API, and through Snowflake.
Awesome, and it's really exciting in the partnership. We were just recounting on how quickly we've come in such a short amount of time. It's really exciting to see where the partnership is growing to. Can we just start though, like zooming out and just talk about like some of the trends that you're seeing industry-wide? Again, we get so close to these kind of things, particularly myself, but just like what are the trends in the industry you're seeing influencing how companies are working with data, how they want to consume data, what are they trying to do, given where you guys are standing?
Yeah, absolutely. And so as you highlighted, there's a ton of trends that are out there in the market right now, and I'll focus on a few key ones. One is really around the explosion of data. Right? There's just so much data that is out there in the marketplace. There's data from the traditional vendors, but also from newer companies that have been collecting and utilizing data internally, but are now realizing that it could be beneficial for others in different segments or personas. And so you have all these different data sources out there in the market. Some of these data sources are massive in size. And so when you start bringing these data sets in, realizing that it really is difficult and inefficient to utilize it through the traditional methods of either FTP delivery or on-prem solutions. So you do see, because of this explosion of data, movement more towards the cloud. If we stick on data, I would say there's a huge interest in unstructured textual data. People will continue to utilize financial data. They've been utilizing it for many years. They're going to continue to utilize it going forward. But now, because of new technology like natural language processing, individuals are now able to seamlessly analyze textual data. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to gain some additional insight from the text and incorporate that with their financial analysis. So because of natural language processing, we're seeing massive interest in clients wanting to access textual data in a machine readable format. If we go,
can you just tell me more? I mean, that's an interesting point you raised about that companies are realizing that they are sitting on these new data sets that really has value that they hadn't thought about before. What role do you see S&P playing in that as companies discover those data sets?
Yeah, it's interesting. As we talk to clients and as we're experiencing it ourselves, right, there are a lot of these new data sources that seem really interesting. Many are fairly new. And as you do all the work to bring the data in, link it, and then start to analyze it, you find that there are still some holes in the data set and it's not valuable. And as we're looking at all these data sources, we're trying to vet these for our clients. We're finding that probably about 5% of the data sets that we look at, we could actually bring in. So if you just think about that for a second, maybe there's 100 data sets that we looked at, we only brought in 5. That's a lot of work to bring the data in, link it, structure it, try to do that analysis, and then find that it may not be as valuable, whereas those 5 that we brought in are very valuable. And therefore, you want to do that work so you could find that diamond in the rough. What our clients are looking for us to do is really do that work of bringing these data sets in, linking it, and then making it available through a single source like a Snowflake, so that if they're interested in looking at that data, Now they don't have to worry about linking it and cleaning it up. They just have access to it right away. They can start analyzing it, see if it adds value, and then integrate it into their process. Or maybe right away see that there is no value, and maybe that is something that in a year or two we'll look at it again, as that data set evolves. So that's really the value that we provide.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that's a lot of people, think about S&P having all these data sets already. And I think the partnership that, brings where you can be working with those particularly new alternative data providers, and again, helping them figure out value, but bringing them in, linking it so that it's more analytics ready. And then obviously being able to get that data right into the Snowflake environment, I think is, really solidifies the partnership. Can you talk a little bit more?
And I'm sorry, Matt, another key thing to that is really around being able to link it to the traditional data that they've always used, right? Fundamental data, estimates, credit research, credit ratings, being able to take that new data source and have it already linked so you could easily incorporate it into the traditional stuff will add value, because by itself, it may not be as valuable as linking it to the traditional stuff that you've been utilizing for many, many years already.
Awesome. The linking problem, I think, is something that if you've been there and understood how hard this is, right? Whether or not you're linking on a company name or that's just not stable. The entity knowledge graph you want to link it to, very, very interesting.
Yeah. The other thing that I just wanted to highlight as we think about trends, I touched a little bit on the cloud, and I think that is a huge trend in the market that we're seeing from our clients today. 451 Research recently did a survey and a study, and they found about 60% of those surveyed have said that they're going to be moving from on-prem to an off-prem cloud solution over the next 2 years. And I think if I look back maybe 5-10 years ago when I was talking to clients, many were saying, yeah, we're going to look at the cloud for disaster recovery purposes, not for production. Ooh, never. That's changed now. And if you think about what happened with the pandemic, and companies realizing that as they have their employees all over the world, having the data hosted in the cloud so that they'll be able to allow their employees to access the data anywhere they are, we're seeing that movement from clients from on-prem to the cloud. In addition to, I think, as we're talking to clients, they want to move away from managing the process of loading data from an FTP into their local environment. They're like, you guys are the experts on your data. You load it into a database and environment, and then just give us access to that data. And so, these are all key trends that we're seeing in the market.
So on that, was that what led you to decide to partner with Snowflake? Again, because we started partnering before this acceleration into the cloud. Again, we're looking like geniuses now because of what panned out, but back then, this wasn't all worked out yet, particularly in some of the more data sensitive banks. Is that what led you, or back then, what were you thinking? What was S&P more broadly thinking about the Snowflake partnership?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think the first step was S&P realizing that we needed to be in the cloud. And it goes back to what I highlighted before, explosion of data being massive in size, in addition to clients no longer want to manage that loading of data in their environment. So we knew we needed to go to the cloud. We would hear from our clients about Snowflake. And we said, okay, this sounds really interesting. So we started looking into it. And the reason why we chose Snowflake versus the other providers was really around a couple of key things. One, Snowflake was cloud agnostic, right? And I think that was really important to us. As we spoke to different clients, some were AWS shops, other Microsoft Azure, some GCP. And we really wanted to come up with a solution where we loaded the data once and it could actually work in all three of those environments. And Snowflake allowed us to check off that box. We love the Snowflake architecture, right? It was built for the cloud, separating compute and storage. And during the POC with clients, we saw, amazing query performance. So we were excited really about that. We also like the concept of us paying for storage. We're storing the data in the warehouse. And when we share it to our clients, they don't have to pay for the storage. And we thought that that made sense. Our clients agreed. They thought that that model made a lot of sense. And I would say last but not least is really the connectors, right? There's a lot of tools that our clients are utilizing today. And there's going to continue to be more and more tools like that. There are fintech firms out there that are really building, specific tools that would help a specific client persona in their workflow. And those clients are going to want to utilize it. And Snowflake had 80 plus connectors to Tableau, Power BI, Alteryx, all these tools that our clients were utilizing. And we thought this would be great. We put it into Snowflake, and now our clients would be able to seamlessly access our data through those tools so that they could really gain the value from our content.
Awesome. No, powering the ecosystem, I'm with you. That's a huge part of it. And we invested early on. One of our founders talked about the difference between Snowflake and others is that we spend engineering time on drivers, right? It's painful, right? It's backbreaking work, but you get those drivers working correctly so that all these partners can then tie to it and have great experiences for their clients. Makes a huge difference. And it's something we thought about from the get-go. Can you tell us a little bit more of what kinds of data are available in the Snowflake marketplace today that S&P is hosting? And a little bit on what you're seeing clients doing with it, because I'm with you, making it easier. But I think you guys have also been thinking about which data sets to highlight, and can you give us some examples?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we could probably break it down in a couple of buckets, right? So we have about 40 plus data sets on Snowflake today. Our goal is always to make it as seamless as possible for our clients to access our data and to be able to deliver it in any means that they want to. And Snowflake is a core part of that. So we have 40 plus data sets. Our goal is to really take everything that we deliver through a feed and an API and also make it available through Snowflake, so our clients have a choice as to which platforms they would like to utilize. If you think about the different pillars of data that we offer, you have the core traditional data sets, fundamentals, estimates, ownership, transactions, people data. That is available for clients to be able to utilize and do their, traditional investment analysis. We have some industry-specific data that we brought in through our S&L merger from many years ago. So S&L has industry-specific content on banking, insurance, real estate, metals and mining, media, and energy sectors. So being able to offer that. We have our cross-reference solutions, which really allow clients to be able to take all the linkages that we have done in-house at S&P Global and be able to utilize that through our business entity cross-reference service. So linking all the different company identifiers to our single S&P Global identifier, and our global instrument cross-reference services, taking all the different instruments, ICE and CUSIP CETLs, local exchange identifiers, and linking it to ours. So being able to help our clients manage their entity security master or instrument security master. And then last but not least, you have, I guess we'll call it alternative. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily like that term alternative, because really it's just unique data. So that could be our ESG data that we've collected through our TrueCost acquisition, or ESG scores, through to our machine readable textual data, machine readable transcripts, filings, textual data analytics, and then finally a lot of third-party partnerships, alternative vendors that we're bringing on board and linking. So all of that is available through Snowflake, and we are continuing to add more and more data as we continue to do these partnerships, bring them on board, in addition to some of the other data sets that still haven't been loaded in there, we're looking to load into Snowflake.
Awesome. So, and you mentioned there's been a lot of demand, from your clients to have this data more easily available, bring the tools, having the data in the cloud. How have you seen, and again, it's even larger amount of data sets than I've even been able to get my head around. How has this affected S&P's, growth, getting this data to customers? Again, are you seeing customers respond? Are you seeing this lead to, other opportunities with these customers? Can you give us a sense for how it's enabling, your, business actually as this plays out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the key thing there is really around instant access of data, right? It's being able to talk to a client, explain a data set, highlight what we have, and then actually be able to give them a username and password and give them access to the data right away. If you think about how things were done in the past, if they were interested in analyzing, let's say, a fundamental data set, they would need to get their technology team set up to make sure they had enough space to be able to load the data in. They would want to make sure that it's loaded in properly, structured properly before their teams could actually start analyzing it. And, from the time you have an idea to the time you actually have access to the data, it could be days, it could be weeks, versus with Snowflake, you see the ability to provide that instant access. In addition to the scale, the query performance, and the connectors that we talked about before, how they're easily able to integrate it with a lot of the tools that they have. It really has simplified their process of gaining insight, deriving insight from our data, which has been fantastic.
Awesome. And I think it's, one of the things that we talk a lot about, and I'm curious if it resonates the customers you're speaking to, is the ability to blend instantly the data that they're getting from an S&P with data that your customers have already in-house, right? And be able to not only try it and see if what this data looks like, but in that same afternoon, be able to now just take that new ESG data source, blend it with their internal data, and again see value immediately. Is that something that instant blendability? Obviously leveraging everything else with linking that you talked about, but is that something that ability to blend S&P data with their internal data, does that resonate with customers you're talking to?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what allows them to differentiate themselves, right? It's taking our data and then integrating it with either other data sets or their own proprietary data. And to be able to do that with Snowflake seamlessly has really, really made it more efficient for them and allowed them to, derive insight much, much quicker. And like you highlighted, having everything linked, working to incorporate some of the tools that we talked about. We have the cross-reference services. We've been talking about adding Kensho Link as well into Snowflake to really make it easier for those clients to be able to take some of their own proprietary data and easily combine it, commingle it with our data. Is really, really exciting. Anything that we could do to really make that effort, quick and seamless, that's really our goal. And that's what we're seeing with this partnership with Snowflake.
Yeah, and the alignment, and this is something that it's actually true. The alignment that we have, we're motivated to make sure that our customers are working with S&P extremely well, because every time a customer can get more insights out of data, right? It's directly tied to how Snowflake business model works, and that alignment I think is really special, and particularly with the overlap of customers, but some of the opportunities that we can kind of bring to each other, I think is really exciting. With that, again, and I know, what are you particularly excited about, with as Snowflake is repositioning itself about the data cloud, so that all of our customers can connect with data sources to one another, to this kind of really globally interconnected data network across clouds and into their own environments. What about that, or anything else about that positioning is exciting to you and S&P?
So I guess if you think about it, right, I'm always interested in making everyone happy, Matt. Let's look at it that way. And so we're really excited to continue to expand all the data that we have at S&P Global and make it available for our clients to be able to access it, because it will help our clients, and that's our goal. So to be able to do that. So we want to continue to do that, continue to expand our textual data offering, ESG, and other alternative data sets. In addition to look to now take a lot of our solutions from our Kensho colleagues, that's the AI arm of S&P Global, and really take a lot of those solutions, make it available through Snowflake so that it is easy for our clients that are utilizing that Snowflake environment to be able to incorporate and utilize a lot of our Kensho services, whether it's Link, whether it's Scribe, which is speech to text technology, whether it's NERD, which is named entity recognition and disambiguation, which really allows clients to identify entities in text. These are all solutions that would really make it easier for clients to gain insight. We want to continue to expand that offering within Snowflake so it allows them to be able to utilize it in that ecosystem and derive the insight that they're looking for.
And that future, I think, is really exciting. This interplay of data with these services that can effectively all exist and coexist and run on this interconnected data cloud. I think we'll look back and thinking that we were underestimating how powerful that's going to be in clients' hands. Again, the partnership has been amazing to see so far. I think it's really bright ahead, and I personally really enjoy working with you and the team. And I think I can't wait to see what our customers dream up on top of this platforms we've built together. And so thank you again, Dave, as always. It's always a pleasure, and look forward to more of this exciting partnership. And with that, next up, we're going to hear more about the functionality of the Snowflake platform, and then we'll later see a demo of Snowflake. So stay tuned, and thank you again for attending.
Thanks, Matt.
No problem.